hard to bust you. Then you come pick us up and like, you didn't have this.
When John, a close friend of Jesus, was sentenced to be all alone on a Greek isle, and he was desolate, and his mic didn't work. He had a vision of what it would be like at the end of all things, and this is what he saw. I saw a holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming out of heaven from God. It was made ready like a wedding. I heard a loud voice coming from heaven, and it said, "See, God is with the people. God will be with them. They will never be alone. The Lord will be their God and take away all their tears. There will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. All the old things have passed away." And then the one sitting on the throne said, "See, I am with you. These things will happen, for I am the first and the last. I am the beginning and the end. To anyone who is thirsty, I will give the water of life. It is a free gift. I will be their God, and they will be my children." A vision of hope. This is a celebration of the life of Brooke Irving Martz, someone that we treasured, someone that gave us education, encouragement, nurture, cheers, problem solving, accompaniment, sending us, many of us, to great heights of understanding between what it is to do the most dangerous sport in the history of humankind. Try to control a 1,500-pound animal that is trained in its brain to flee at any sign of danger. You've heard flight, fight, or freeze. How many of you have horses that flight is their number one response to trauma? Today we celebrate Brooke's excellence, her joy, the way she could make people feel seen and heard, and could encourage them to do things that they never believed were possible. How many of you here had Brooke as an instructor or coach? Raise your hand. Dad says every day. What a gift to have her encouragement in your life. When I trained here with my horse, every time I drove down that driveway, I felt I was entering into a sacred space. It wasn't just the community of the sisters, it was the way the parents and the family came together for not only a business and a university, as it were, of further education in the equestrian arts, but a community of love and support. It was amazing how Brooke could problem solve. If you had something that was going wrong with your horse, you went to Brooke, and she would parse it, figure it out, MacGyver it, whatever it took to solve the problem. And she was unflappable as she did so. I never saw her get in a panic. Now, I'm sure she did, but she was able to hold things in and to keep pressing on. And we saw this so vividly at the last months of her life, enduring incredible suffering, while at the same time encouraging her caregivers to live their best life. What an example for us. That you don't have to have suffering as your only experience of pain. That there was something of endurance and courage in the way that she went through her trials that show us what's possible. That show us in many ways that suffering is a choice, even though pain cannot be avoided. Many of us were taught in the school of when you get bucked off, you get back on. Sometimes I don't know if that's the best advice. I have a couple of ribs that will always be out of place because of that advice. But I know we learn something from that is different than the way most of the world understands training and the relationship between a horse and a person. When I was young, we were taught to break our horses. Thank God we have evolved to learn to communicate with our horses. And Brooke could teach us to listen. On the way here, I was listening about how bees don't hear things, but they listen through their legs to the vibration. In many ways, good equestrian teachers teach us to listen through our seat and our legs. To have a companionship with the animal we ride, not to force, but to negotiate. Sometimes insistently, sometimes with repetition that can be arduous and difficult, but to press on to an understanding that miraculously becomes a dance. How many of you have danced with your horses? If you haven't yet, keep at it. It's out there. Brooke bore a lot of suffering with courage. And we are here because her community came around her with love. And we believe that love never fails. My name is Elizabeth, and I have been a Presbyterian minister for almost 40 years, serving many different kinds of churches. But some of my most sacred work has been as a chaplain to the Woodbrook Hunt and doing services outside on horseback. Because there's something so miraculous about it. And when scientists test human responses to the proximity of a horse, there's a couple things that happen. When we get in the horse's space, our blood pressure goes down. Our stress hormones are reduced. Our capacity to listen increases. There is something about that connection that is sacred. And so we remember the words of people like Winston Churchill, who said the best days he ever spent were on horseback. And we know that that sacred connection is a gift that we share. And fewer people in our world understand it. So we are blessed by it. As we think of Brooke and her family, I invite you to think about her legacy and how we have the opportunity to share the encouragement that she gave us. In the book of Isaiah, the prophet said, "Those who keep on to hope will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not fall faint." And the great apostle Paul, who understood much of suffering and death, said that I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor principalities nor powers, nor things before or things to come will be ever able to separate us from the love of God. If God can be called one thing, the scriptures say it is love. And there is no accident that the first two attributes of love are patience and kindness. Love means a lot of things in today's era. Many times people will say, I love you because they want something from you, not understanding that love is patient and kind and thinks of the other first. Many of us learned this kind of love from Brooke, for she was always thinking of the other, putting herself back while she put others forward. And of all her identities, and there are many, I think of the way she mothered. On the tributes and social media, over and over again, you saw people write, she was a second mother to me. She helped raise me. She encouraged me. She saw me. She loved me. When God is described as a mother, there's an image of being the mother hen, holding the wings over the chicks and protecting them. Or a woman who had a lost coin that was very valuable and would never stop looking for it until it was found. This kind of mothering love is one where people can grow under, can achieve their best selves. And this is the love that God gives us, that Brooke showed us in abundance. What a gift. What a sacred and beautiful gift. It is said that the best horses in heaven have no tails. Well, the best trainers leave a legacy of changed lives. Imagine, if you will, training small children to be capable and confident on a huge, fast animal, prone to departing at some speed away from anything out of sorts. Whether humans can see it or not, Brooke's legacy as a daughter and a sister, a mother and a warrior, an equestrian and a teacher, and a firefighter, I learned. So unflappable that when the neighbor's house was on fire, it was Brooke there moving the cars, following the car, giving the instructions, calling the fire department. She could take charge and get things done. She was a provider, she was kind, and she was very generous. Some of us have forgotten how much horses have changed humanity. Think about before horses came into our lives. You could only marry someone within about 3 miles of you until the horse. How many of you would have liked to marry someone within 3 miles of you? And then if you moved away, you could never see your family before the horse, where relatives could come visiting. The relationship between married children and parents changed. Grandparents could have access to their grandkids, the greatest gift in humanity. People no longer fought wars only with neighbors. Families could arrange marriages over great distances, even in other countries. And so the gene pool began to change. Writers sowed the seeds of language and culture throughout the world. And Brooke loved studying what it meant to be an equestrian, how we could communicate with this miraculous partnership between horses. Horses altered the way people earned their living, how they educated the young, where they vacationed, how they thought of news, what sports they played, how they raised crops, where they worshiped, how they conducted government, where they could or couldn't rescue each other in terms of catastrophe. The horse revamped the limits of personal freedom and enriched what we mean by a pilgrimage. Most of all, it changed how we picture the human body, the personal space in which we live, making it elastic and swift. How many of you have galloped without reins with your hands in the air? You think the Titanic was fun, where he's the king of the world? There is nothing like that. I've probably watched the scene in The Black Stallion where the little kid's on the beach at least 100 times. That right there is living. Horses change the world. And Brooke, through horses, has changed her community. A good rider can hear a horse speak. A great rider can hear a horse whisper. And a great trainer can teach someone else to listen. One of the most difficult postures of being a human. More difficult to teach than heels down, inside leg to outside rein, engage your core and relax your elbows. Any chicken riders out here? If you know, you know. Ask someone. How many of you here are better because of Brooke? Raise your hand. In Matthew it says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." And we are here today to comfort each other. And one of the things I'm going to invite you to practice is to ask someone a follow-up question, because this is becoming a lost skill in humanity. My husband and I often say that when we go somewhere, we'll ask each other at the end of the event, "Did anyone ask you a question?" And many times we'll say no. What I mean by that is to channel Brooke today. When you ask someone how they're doing and they say fine, ask them, what does that mean? Or what's giving you joy? Or how do you spend your time? And listen to the answer before you say, "Oh yeah, I've done that too, and this is where I went, and this is what it was like." Because when we learn to listen to each other, to really listen, we're expressing Brooke's legacy. And so I invite you to think about that today. I want to read to you something that reminded me of her from Mary Oliver, who's a poet I really admire. Heron rises from the dark summer pond. So heavy is the long-necked, long-bodied heron. Always it is a surprise when her smoke-colored wings open and she turns from the thick water, from the black sticks of the summer pond, and slowly rises into the air and is gone. Then, not for the first or the last time, I take the deep breath of happiness, and I think how unlikely it is that death is a hole in the ground, how improbable that ascension is not possible. Though everything seems so inert, so nailed back into itself. The muskrat and his lumpy lodge, the turtle, the fallen gaze, and especially it is wonderful that the summers are long and the ponds so dark and so many, and therefore isn't it a miracle? The common thing, this decision, this trailing of the long legs in the water, this opening up of the heavy body into a new life. See how the sudden gray-blue sheets of her wings strive toward the wind. See how the clasp of nothing takes her in. Many of you have been visited by our winged friends in what you suspect may be a visitation from Brooke. I believe that life does not end at death, but changes. And I believe in the resurrection of the body, however mysterious that might be. And mostly I believe that love never fails, that all other things will pass away, but love goes on forever. At this point, I'd invite some very close to her to speak and share their witness. Kelly, you want to kick it off? You want to come up? Would it be better to use this one?
So, first of all, thank you all for taking the time out of your lives to come and celebrate my sister. I wrote a speech because I didn't know if my words would fail me on today. And I'm the kind of person that mourns quietly, and I don't really cry in public very often. So I'm going on that I can actually finish my speech today. So here we go. When I was in high school, there were these bracelets that we all got through Young Life. It said, WWJD, what would Jesus do? And they were like really popular. We had them, up our arms and stuff. And I was thinking about what I wanted to say to this huge group of people, this beautiful gathering, surrounded by so many people who loved and cherished her, whose lives changed because of her. I thought about these bracelets and the point of them, or at least what I feel is the point of them. When you are trying to make a decision about how to act or how to react or how to handle a situation, you look at your bracelet and you ask yourself, what would Jesus do? That's what I do now, except for I don't have that bracelet, though I am going to copyright it. I look down and I think, what would Brooke do? What would Brooke do in this situation? It's like asking, what would Jesus do? Because Brooke led her life with strong moral compass. She was calm, she was poised, she was kind, she helped the weak, she handled the strong, she fed people, she housed people, she clothed people. And most importantly, she educated people, not just about horses or veterinary work. If you knew Brooke, she was like super geeked out on vet work. But also, she helped people with life. She tutored kids with their homework. She taught children right from wrong. When Addie was in gymnastics, Brooke, who was also a level 8 gymnast, would sit there for hours, spotting her over and over again, cheering her on through back walkovers, telling her to be brave as she tried front hamstrings on the trampoline. She could tie your body into a million knots while riding, and yet every single time from afar, you could spot a Brooke Irving Marx rider. There was a kind of stamp on her finished product. Her students carried her with grace, her belief, and her discipline. She taught people to love. She taught people to believe in themselves and their horses, even when they couldn't see it for themselves. She taught people how to own up when they weren't living or riding up to the standard she knew that they could reach. And I know this because as I look around this yard, I think to myself, what a, excuse my language, fucking legacy. I do speak like a sailor, but truly, what a legacy she has left. I hope that when my day comes, I have a crowd like this, a crowd who comes from far and wide, from every coast of this country, even from overseas. I hope I leave behind something a fraction as powerful as Brooke. And yet, Brooke would be embarrassed by all this because she was someone who never needed the limelight. She didn't even seek it. Instead, she put the people she believed in into the spotlight so they could shine, and she would stand behind them, cheering them on. And the only way that I can sleep at night without her is knowing that she is still here, cheering each and every one of us on.
Is Nikki ready to talk?
No, they'll just really blur if I do that. And I can't read from a cell phone, so it's on paper. And you'll have to excuse me if I go on for a little while. It's hard to cover. How many years? A long time. A friendship and family. And I practice this at home in the mirror. And I practice this at home in front of my husband. And I thought that I might be able to just get through this without crying too badly, but I don't know. But here it goes. And I do have to read this because I'm going to lose myself. Thank you all for being here today. It means so much to be surrounded by people who love Brooke as much as I did. I want to share some memories and feelings about someone who truly was one of the brightest lights in my life, one of my best friends. I will be honest, like many of you, I feel really shafted right now. I am working my way through it, but it's gonna take a while, and maybe forever. And that is okay, because I honestly do not think that Brooke leaving this earth at 44 is okay. Some days I do feel angry. Some days I just feel deeply sad. Talking about birds. 2 days after she passed, I was riding my gelding Kenny, and I was crying. And I told her out loud that I needed a sign she was still with me. And within a minute, I'm not joking, an eagle flew so low over my arena, and then he came back around again, and he came down again over the top of me. And it was unmistakable. I knew it was her. And since then, I have seen more big birds around our property than I ever have, and we've lived there for 8 years. I know it's her spirit still watching over us. I believe it. Brooke was a lighthouse for me. We are both old souls with kindred spirits. We didn't need to talk constantly to stay connected. We could go months without talking and catch up in 10 minutes. And being in each other's presence was enough. There is something truly special about a friend you can sit with in silence. I met Brooke in 1993 when we were 12 at Deep Creek Horse Trials outside of Spokane, Washington. We were basically camping next to each other with our horses. Our entire family was there. and our fencing, we had temporary fencing set up, and she had this most beautiful Appaloosa gelding named American Graffiti. And I was really excited about that because I had a nappy too, and I felt like I was an outlier, so I was like, yes, another person with an Appaloosa among the sea of thoroughbreds and warm blood crosses. At that time, we discovered that we were both in Pony Club, and I think around that time we were both probably C2s. We were pretty advanced in our riding, and we were go-getters, and we were moving our way through Pony Club pretty fast. Our friendship began at that time. A month later, I was a working student at Miari Stables, riding with Carrie McLean, and I saw a very unmistakable spotted rump back out of a horse trailer. And I stopped what I was doing, and I walked over, and there was Brooke and Pat, and I think Kelly, you even had your chestnut, was it Mac or Matt? Matt. And I was like, what are you guys doing here? And we started taking lessons with Carrie, and from then, the rest is really history for me and our friendship. I was a working student every summer until I moved here in 1998 for college, and Brooke became a working student too. So we spent a lot of time together. I often stayed at Pat and Bob's house for a break from my camper life to enjoy really good food and to be surrounded by a feeling from a family. I always ended up sleeping on the floor of the couch because her bed was so uncomfortable. And if you know her bed, you know what I'm talking about. It was really uncomfortable. I do not know how she slept in that thing for so long. When you're a kid, you don't always see the big picture, but you remember how people made you feel. And Brooke and her family made me feel at home. And our families became intertwined because of our incredible friendship. In our early 20s, I convinced Brooke to go clubbing with me on many occasions. Convinced was like, I might have coerced her a little bit. I begged her to help me and be my backup to deal with many fully intoxicated friends, which I did really need help, honestly. And more than once we were driving home and we would have to stop because someone would be getting sick, and Brooke would you guys know her eye roll, right? She would roll her eyes and look at me, and she was like, why did I let you talk me into this? And I was just like, oh, because it's fun. And then you'd look at her face and it totally told you otherwise. But she still came, and we had a blast every time. We drove all over for horse shows when we were qualifying for North American Young Riders. The year that we went, we were a 2-person team, and that was in 2001. And this was truly such a special time in our life and some of my most fondest of memories with Brooke. As life went on, we loved, we laughed, we cried over heartbreaks, breakups, curveballs, marriage, kids, lame horses, and all the things that life throws at you, including cancer. Now, Brooke loves her family more than anything. And her family loves her more than anything too. She connected so deeply with people. Her relationships were built on kindness, authenticity, which is hard to find, compassion, and trust. Olivia and little Maddie, I truly don't have words for you guys. And I found myself thinking, what would I want my own two little boys knowing if our places were reversed? And it might be something like this. There are no words big enough, bold enough, or powerful enough to capture the depth of your mother's love for you. You both are the sun in her universe, the very light that feeds her soul and the joy in her heart. You are her purpose. To say that she is proud of you hardly even scratches the surface. She loves you fiercely. She believes in you endlessly. And the most beautiful truth is that so much of her lives on within you. You carry her love, her perseverance, her her passion for life, her unshakable grit. Lean into those parts. Let them guide you. She is with you now and always. Pat, your heart is one of the biggest I have ever known. You're gracious, you're loving, you're colorful, like the beautiful flowers you love to grow. You have been a true source of unwavering strength. Bob, you're one of a kind. And you give great hugs. You've done and continue to do everything for the love and dreams of your children and grandchildren. You have been a rock. And I know you're a really good driver because you have driven a truck and horse trailer across the United States more than I could ever know. For the love of your children and grandchildren. Kelly, your love and devotion to Brooke and Olivia and Matthew is beyond words. And your own beautiful family too. There is no way to express what you've done for your sister, truly. Nothing could be said to express what you've done for her and what you will continue to do. I said Brooke was a lighthouse for me. Kelly, the fire is in you. She knows it. You will carry her light forward. Engage. When Brooke talked about you, it was always with such deep love and pride, truly. So proud of you and all your accomplishments and what you've become. You're always her little brother. Your strength, your journey, and your recovery from her accident inspired her deeply. We talked about it quite a bit. A few years ago, my mare Enya led me to Reiki like horses lead us to so many things. And Reiki is a Japanese healing technique that helps the body's natural healing abilities. I've come to believe there are no coincidences in life, and the things that we need most find us exactly at the right time. I believe the universe prepared me just in time to be someone to offer Reiki to Brooke. When I told her I'd earned my master level certification and explained what Reiki was, she was both optimistic and uncertain, and honestly so was I, because I was learning and here she is fighting for her life. Early on though, when we talked about everything that was going on, she did say to me on more than one occasion that Western medicine had saved her brother's life, but Eastern medicine had given him his life back. And so we went for it. For over 2 years, I routinely sent Brooke Reiki weekly, every other week, or daily, depending on what she needed. And that was truly intimate for me. I felt her fighting so hard. Her body would retreat, and then it would come back for another win over and over. And just like you said, she remains so optimistic and driven about healing. She was so positive. We really didn't even talk about death. She was so focused on her healing. During that time, we leaned in a lot to the love of our friendship, the connectedness and the strength within us. And I would say that helping Brooke with Reiki was a very deep and great privilege for me. This is not how any of us want things to be. But I know that her love and her friendship and her radiance will live on in my heart and the hearts of everyone who's here and has been lucky enough to know her and love her. I will miss very much her beautiful twinkling glacier blue eyes, her beautiful smile, and her very hearty, unforgettable laugh. Unforgettable. So I'm gonna read a poem and then I'll be done. This poem showed up the day that she passed away, but I hadn't realized she'd passed away yet. And I saw this poem and I thought, gosh, this is such a beautiful poem. And then I found out and I saved it. And the day later, when I learned that she passed away, I thought, no coincidences. Here it is. She is lit from within, they say, incandescent, as if she swallowed the moon whole. It is not that she was born under a myth or raised by stars. It's just the hope inside her chest she refuses to extinguish. Because once, long ago, she decided to live like a lighthouse, bearing the light in unbearable times. We love and miss her so much.
If you have a brief memory, prayer, or story that you'd like to share, I'd like to come around and give you that opportunity. Would you raise your hand if you'd like to?
I just want to thank all of you guys for coming, and it's just so many faces I know and love. I just want you to know we're so proud to be her mother and father. She was an amazing kid, and I will forever, ever miss her, but she will live on within us, all of us, and I thank you all for coming.
The dogs want to talk.
I'll try to keep this quick because I'm trying to hold it together too. My name is Stevie. Sorry. I was a nurse that got to take care of her 2 years ago, and just hearing about how much she motivated people, and they said that she wrote like I was her hero, but she was mine. She believed in me more than I could believe in myself as a healthcare hero, and because of her, it was so funny because I was very territorial of Brooke in the hospital, because I'd come in some days and I'd have one day off and somebody else would have her, and I'm immediately going up and I'm like, I'm sorry, I bet you're going to be a great nurse, but it's my friend. I was like, I'm sorry, she's fine. I was like, I'm sorry you didn't get to meet more people, Brooke, but I was like, as long as you're here and I'm coming in, I'm claiming this. You're my friend, you're my patient, and it became so much more than that, but she believed in me, and she kept telling me, oh, I'll write you a letter of recommendation. I think you'd be a great nurse practitioner, because as you guys said, she was so strong in her plan, and it would be so funny coming in because we had a system, and she's like, I got my snack here, I got my this here, this is ready here if we need it, and I had never wanted to advocate more for somebody than I did her, and she gave me a voice as a nurse, even though I already had experience, and she's changed how my practice is today. She was one of the first people I told when I got into school 2 years ago, and she was going to be the one I was the most excited about when I graduate next year. So I'm sorry, it's hard, but she changed a lot of my future and believed in me more than I did, and I'll be forever grateful that I took a random assignment in Tacoma and randomly got assigned for that day. So thank you.
Another?
My name is Scott Charbonneau, and you just saw my best half of my life talk to you a moment ago, and I hope I can do it. But I want to just ask, how many in here so many horse shows with my daughter through the years, and little bit at a time learned what it meant. It meant getting up early. It meant staying there late. It meant cleaning them after they made a mess. It made the days that they were going to come home from school longer by hours. And one thing that I did learn from my daughter, and I know that I saw how many young women are coming into this today, which tells me where they are, is that you are lead, follow, or get out of my way type women. Yeah. And I admire you for it, because in our society now, you aren't included in much unless you really put your foot out there. And you have to be at it harder. And one of the things that I had in my critique was that, and I was glad, is that unless you weighed 1,100 pounds and had a really nice looking mane and a tail, you weren't going to be involved with my daughter. And it worked for a long time until she met Mitch. He has a nice mane. I got to know people like Carrie through Nikki being at her farm. I got to know people like Lynn and Gary Anderson, who volunteered their time. Unbelievable. We went to Chicago one year, and I'll try and hold this together. A lot of times I'll have a rubber band on my wrist. But I never saw so much appreciation or so much love or so much extra time put in as I saw Lynn put in, as I saw Carrie put in, as I saw Pat put in at that time. We all got back there, and we had one of the roughest years, as I recall, trying to get anybody to get there. It was hard, and somewhat, like, really? We lost documentation. We didn't have trucking for some of them, and we got down to where both the girls were, Nikki and Brooke were the only two that got to attend that year. And their friend Beth is here. Is Beth here, Lynn? Okay. Beth helped out amazingly too. I know they donated a horse for us so that we could make it. That's how close it got for us all. Watching the kids have a chance to do what they'd been doing all of those years, to try and get to that level, to compete, one after the other, trying to knock them down, and they kept standing up. My feelings for those that are parents in this conglomerate, it's a deal. It's a hard deal, because we watch how fast their peaks and their valleys are. One day you're at a show and you're doing great, and that horse is doing great, and the next time that's not even the same horse. What did that horse do from that show to this show? I don't know. I do know that we used to call it the spots, because my daughter had the Appaloosa too, and we always say that's the spots coming out of it. So for me now to say thank you is like can't even manage to cover what your folks have done that helped my daughter in her endeavor, and Pat's daughter in her endeavor. Thank you for coming together in this community and supporting one another, because there's times when it doesn't seem like they're doing it for anything but to be told, you gotta do it, you gotta bring your arms down, you gotta get your legs together. It's critique, but it's love. So to all of you young women that are in this program, lead, follow, or get them out of your way.
I'm gonna try to say a few words for I know all of these women, and I see I come here and I see generations of Callenbrook girls. Brooke was another mother to all of us. When you had a bad day, she was the bar. She was the stable person. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I had health issues. My mother had health issues. But that sandbox out there is my happiest childhood memories. Being with Brooke at shows and with Kelly and Pat, those were my family vacations. The big happy family vacations. We get pizza and mustaches. She shaped all of us into such confident women when you didn't believe in yourself. You didn't know how you'd get through the next day. Brooke would give you the strength you needed. She shaped us into who we are. And she will live on in every single one of us. And thank you for the community you built for all of us. Those happiest childhood memories built for all of us. Both Brooke, but also all of the Irvings. We were truly such a happy family, an extended family.
Hello, my name is Kayla, and I have known Brooke for almost the last 6 years. Everybody here is familiar with Callenbrook Stables as one of the family businesses, but that's not the only business of the Irving clan. The other half of the Irving family is the Plantery, which I have gladly worked for Pat under her guidance for the last 6 years. And it has been a absolutely astounding experience to witness Brooke's journey and how this family has come together to support her in ways that I never seen before. The love and the passion that Brooke's parents had for her and the support that she receives from her siblings and from her children and her nieces and nephews is been one of the greatest honors in my life, to be able to see such a wonderful family dynamic. And every single woman in this family is very strong, and I know that it's because of Patty and Bob and just being the wonderful people that they are. And there are no words to express what it's like to be the outsider to somebody's journey, but when you work for the family business and they make you feel like you're part of their family too, it was as if I had known Brooke my whole life, and her passing was a transformative experience as a witness. And it is an honor to be here today to witness all of these people that come together for such a wonderful woman. And I can only pray that when it's my time to go home, that this many people will show up for me. And this week has been an interesting journey unto itself to get ready for this memorial today, because I made flower arrangements for this memorial. I went shopping for the flowers. I cried in the cooler while shopping for those flowers, and was comforted by a friend saying that it's okay to cry in the flower cooler. And making the flowers last night, I thought about how just wild of a roller coaster journey that it has been. As anybody who knows, Brooke was fighting for many, many, many years, and the unwavering love and strength of her parents is truly, truly inspiring. And I'm just so happy that I can be here and just say a couple words.
Hello, my name is Vivian, and Brooke taught me how to ride, and it made me feel really happy.
Hi, my name is Jill Seeley, and I want to leave you with some memories from Brooke's younger years. I was her first event riding instructor, and I think she must have been about 13, is that right, Pat? Yeah, 12, yeah. And her quality as a person and her perseverance and her positiveness shone even then. And I have a memory that will forever to this day be etched in my mind that is an example of this. Brooke had a little bay mare named Snip. And Snip had a little bit of an attitude sometimes. And we were having a jumping night, and Brooke cantered down to a triple combination. Those of you that don't jump maybe don't know that that's 3 jumps in a row. The second jump was a brick wall. And Snip said no and put on the brakes very suddenly. And Brooke, in her best gymnast style, did a perfect flip, rotate around, and landed on the other side of the jump, facing the horse on her feet, caveat, with the bridle in her hand. And there stood the horse on the other side of the jump going, well, whatever are you doing over there? Anyway, needless to say, we put the bridle back on the horse. She came around again and was successful, of course. Anyway, that is one of my fondest memories of her. And that was just in the beginning, seeing the quality in actually both girls, and the rest is history.
I'd like to read something that Olivia wrote. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who loved horses, but loved her mom even more. This little girl was born into the most loving and supportive family that anyone could ever dream of. They were all there when she scraped her knee, broke her bones, got bucked off more times than she could count, and they were there when she won her first national and international championship. When she graduated middle and elementary school, and when her mom couldn't be there for her, this little girl's whole world rotated on the axis that was her mother. They were connected like the constellations strung together in the night sky. Brooke's greatest joy in life was Olivia and little Maddie, who's had enough of this. We are so gifted to be able to continue to pray and support them, which is part of our obligation of love. Will you join me as we pray for the family and for the future? Oh God, who holds us each in a loving embrace, we are so grateful to have known Brooke, to have been encouraged by her, in awe of her, cheered on by her, and standing by her bedside as she fought her long, hard fight. We know that the most interesting stories have a lot of adversity. And dear Lord, this story was filled with it. But there was a tenacity and a perseverance that reminds us all that love never fails. So remind us to pray for Olivia and for Matthew. Remind us to hold up Pat and Bob and Kelly and Steve and Brody and Addie and Gage and the surrounding family. Remind us to hold them up by offering them meals or chores or whatever it takes to be a community in the future. Remind us, Lord, that when we have seen love, it is our obligation to pass it on. We pray for them, each as we are led, and I pray in the name of Christ the Lord. Amen. For those of you that know it, I invite you to say the 23rd Psalm with me. And if your version is a little different, that's okay. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There's more time as we gather with food to, we have one more? I'm gonna try. Okay.
I'm Roxanne. And I found this poem that I was gonna write and go send to Brooke, but I didn't. And let it be a lesson. If you're thinking something or feeling something, say it. Do it, don't wait. Because deep down in my heart, I thought she'd never die. I saw this and I thought of her, but now I think it applies to each of you. You know who you are. I'm gonna have to enlarge this. I can't. It's good. I just thought you should know that I love how you are weathering your own storm and still know how to be with the calm in someone else's. It takes enormous grace to be that person. And at a time when you could easily have chosen to turn inward and focus only on your own hurt, the light you carry does not go unnoticed. Thank you for shining when shining isn't easy.
All right. Hi, I'm Gage. I'm Brooke's little brother. I know that there's a lot of people from the horse world, and there's a lot of people from family and a lot of friends, and honestly, like, we couldn't have done it without you guys. Like, but like the amount of love that we have all experienced and the amount of support that we've experienced from friends, like, it's been truly incredible. And I'm just so grateful for everybody's love. And actually, one more thing. Yeah, just one more. My fucking parents are, like, seriously, you guys are absolutely amazing. I have no idea how they never left her side in the hospital, and she was in the hospital for 2.5 years, basically on and off, like 50% of the time. And they would travel to Portland, sleep in her room, sleep on couches, use the communal bathrooms to shower. Like, these two people loved so hard. They love so fucking hard, and it's beautiful to witness. Thank you.
Before we convene, I just want to say a big shout out to a couple people that have helped, because we also have the slideshow, so that's next. My friend Lindsay, I met her at Carrie McLean's barn, so that's funny. When I was, I don't even know, 12, something like that, 11. We've been trying to figure it out. She flew in a week ago, and I was like, I can't believe she's coming so early, but I literally have said over and over again that I could not have done this without her. Thank you. Shannon Odell has provided us with food, and Lindsay also provided food and beer. So I just wanted to say, there's people that just keep helping, and my barn family came out, and a week ago we had a weekend where I literally had so many people here to help me that I ran out of projects to do. And I just want to say, it takes a village, and that's what Brooke was about, was connecting people and cheering each other on. Okay.